Hey everybody, I'm Lindsay and I'm a product manager for Looker.
And I'm Annie, I'm also a product manager for Looker, and today we're going to talk about bringing data to the people. This session is all about user workflows and how to help your team access the data that they need from anywhere. We'll start off with why understanding your users' workflows is critical to delivering the most value for your data. Then we'll talk through how Looker can help power those workflows and drive more value for your organization and end users. We'll start with the dashboard and show some quick ways that you can share your data. Then we'll talk about how you can more deeply integrate Looker with your existing workflows. And finally, we'll show off some new ways to help you stay connected with your data, even when you're not in Looker. Now let's back up a little bit and talk about why this is important. So you have your data connected, you have it modeled in Looker, and you have a bunch of snazzy dashboards set up. But if users aren't engaging with that data, then what's the point? What's the value you're delivering to your organization? We know data is most valuable when it's actionable and it's in the hands of users that can take that action. So how do you connect the dots? How do you help those users get the value from Looker so that your organization can benefit from data-driven decision-making? Today, we're going to talk about how you can use Looker to bring data to the people and scale the value of your data beyond a dashboard. We can share best practices, but there's no one-size-fits-all to boosting your user engagement. Every organization is different, and success will come from mapping that understanding of your users' workflows and needs to the capabilities that Looker can deliver to bring more value from your data. So start by asking yourself these questions. Which tools are important to your organization? Does it differ by role or department? Do your sales team spend a lot of time in Salesforce, but your product team spend a lot of time in Jira or Google Docs? How do your users communicate with each other? Do you have a very email-focused culture? Do your teams spend a lot of time in chat tools like Slack, Teams, or Hangouts? Understanding how your users communicate with each other is important so you can understand where they're going to ask their questions and where they're going to expect those answers. What operational processes exist in your organization already? Does your marketing team have a complete workflow automated outside of Looker? If so, it's going to be really hard to add another tool to the mix for that team to have to add to their workflow and to their mindset. These questions are by no means exhaustive, but it will help you think about what's important to your users and their workflows and which of these capabilities you can leverage and integrate into your workflows. Now let's jump into some of the capabilities that Looker has to offer. We'll talk about some quick ways to share your data. These examples take just a few minutes to set up and then you're ready to go. Realistically, Looker is probably just one of the many tools that your end users are working in day to day. You don't want to have to rely on someone to constantly come back into the product to check their KPIs regularly or constantly check in with the data. If they're not an analyst, it's likely that they're not going to remember to come back into Looker or to integrate Looker into their everyday workflow on their own. We've seen that users are more engaged when the data comes to them. So if your users spend a lot of time in email or chat tools, they're going to be much more engaged in the data if it shows up in their inbox or in a channel or DM that they're constantly checking. Now, email isn't the only destination that we provide. We also have a variety of Action Hub integrations that enables you to meet users where they are. You also have the option to set up dynamic schedule triggers, which will ensure that your data is also fresh and contextual. Now we'll do a quick walkthrough of how easy it is to set up a new schedule. You'll also get a preview of the new Dashboards Next Scheduler modal, which has tons of UX improvements, so you'll see how sleek and easy it is to use. So I come into Looker here on a KPI dashboard called Daily Pulse. To create a new schedule, I just go into the dashboard actions and click on Schedule Delivery. This will launch a form for me to create that new schedule. I'll update the frequency from Send Now to weekly, and Monday morning to my email looks great to me. I'll just change the format type to PDF since that's my preference, and I'll go ahead and save the schedule. With just a few clicks, you can see that that new schedule has been created. Now, every Monday morning, that schedule is going to run, and you'll see that I receive an email in my inbox on the left there. And instead of having to open Looker and go into the product and view the dashboard, I can actually click into the PDF right there and be able to view and interact with my data without ever having to leave my inbox. As I mentioned earlier, email isn't the only destination that we support. We have a broad group of integration points available through our Action Hub. This is just a preview of all the actions available. Most only take a few clicks to enable and configure before you can start using it within your organization. Here's the full list of actions that we support. If any of these resonate with you and are commonly used within your organization, I encourage you to go check it out and start enabling them in the admin section. You also have the option to define dynamic schedule triggers. So your users can schedule data, for example, when a data set is refreshed. This enables users to have access to the freshest, most relevant data, and data groups can be set up also in the admin section. The next feature I want to talk about is conditional alerting. This feature enables you to define your most important metrics and thresholds, and then Looker will just notify you once those thresholds are met. Another way to think about this is really to set it and forget it. This is a great feature to use for use cases like KPI monitoring. So I'll quickly show you how to set up a conditional alert in Looker. We come in here to our KPI dashboard again, and you can see that I have a lot of metrics here. And I probably don't care about all of these metrics all the time. But let's say I really care about this daily active users metric, and I want to be able to get it notified when it hits our goal. So I'll hover over the bell to create a new alert, and you see that I have the option to select a metric and enter that threshold. So let's put 110,000 here as our goal. I want to know when that threshold is met. Email is fine here. And I want Looker to check daily to see if that KPI is met. I'll keep the permissions to public so that other users can see and follow that alert if it's something they're interested in as well. And you can see with just a few clicks that that alert is now created. Now Looker is going to do a daily check to see if that metric has reached that 110,000 value. Once that threshold is met, I'm going to get an email in my inbox that looks like this, where I can see that the alert has been triggered and the number of users has reached that threshold. I'll then have the option to go into the dashboard and update the threshold to something that's more relevant to my next goal. Another option we've recently released is the ability to send these conditional alerts not only to email, but also to Slack. You can see here, I'll get a notification right in my channel or DM once that metric, in this case user count, has reached the threshold that I've defined. The last feature I want to talk about is our new Slack integration, which introduces improved URL sharing with more context and interactivity. This option really promotes data-driven conversations and is great for organizations that use Slack to power everyday chats or workflows. I'll quickly show what that looks like. So I'm here in a different dashboard for order summary, and a common pattern is I'll go ahead and grab that URL directly from the dashboard and switch over to my Slack workspace. I'll paste that URL in our sales analytics channel, and you can see once I post that, I'll generate more context about that dashboard and have the opportunity to post it to the channel. I also have the ability to add that to my favorites directly from Slack. What this is going to do is load the dashboard as a PDF directly in that channel so that myself and anyone else in that channel has the ability to just open that dashboard and have a conversation about the data right there. Now I'm going to pass it to Lindsay, who's going to talk about plugging Looker into your existing workflows.
Thanks, Annie. Building on the Slack integration that Annie just talked you through, we know that many Looker customers use other applications and tools that are outside Looker and that are also critical for getting work done. Luckily, with Looker, you can easily bring data into these outside workflows to make more data-informed decisions. To show you a few examples, let's start with a Looker dashboard. With Looker's embedding technology, customers can quickly take a Looker dashboard or an Explore or a Look and embed this content into other applications. We have many customers that embed Looker into internal tools like Salesforce today, and these tools are critical to their team's workflows. In the example you see here, account executives can look up a client in Salesforce to see the usual things like contact info and contract type. And with embedded Looker content, they can see the latest data on their client in context, like their spending over time or their churn risk. It's also possible to embed Looker into external applications. Like this example that shows you Looker Analytics embedded into a customer portal. And finally, Looker offers a suite of developer tools for customers to build entire bespoke applications that are targeted for specific internal teams or workflows. These applications are built using Looker's embedded technology, our powerful APIs, and sometimes a new developer toolset that's called the extension framework. These tools make it easy to build applications that incorporate actions that are specific to a team or specific to a certain workflow. For example, you can build a sales analytics application that not only visualizes the latest progress to sales goals, but also forecasts whether your revenue will land in the quarter. And this application could even send an email alert to managers whenever a large deal gets closed. Building on custom applications, to finish up our presentation today, Annie and I will talk you through 2 new exciting ways that users can access Looker outside the original web product. The first way is a brand new native Looker mobile application for both iOS and Android. This mobile app allows users to access Looker data on the go. Whether you're a busy executive that needs to quickly check on your business outside the office, or if you're a sales rep traveling to client meetings and you need to pull up the latest client data. Let's take a tour of the mobile app to give you an idea of how simple it is to use. So to start, I open up my phone and select the Looker mobile application. From here, there are 2 distinct ways that I can sign into the app. I can either sign in with my instance name, with my email address and password, or I can choose to sign in via a QR code. Selecting the QR code opens up my phone camera, and from there I can point my phone at the QR code in the Looker web app admin section. And this automatically logs me into the mobile app. Now that we're in the app, you can see there's a couple ways to navigate through content. On the bottom left, you can select recents to look at all of your most recently viewed content. You can look at your favorites to see any content that you've favorited. And you can navigate by looking at boards. Finally, there is an Overflow More section in the app where you can check out all of your folder content. That includes personal folders and shared folders. Now that I've given you an idea of how to navigate through the app, let's actually look at how a dashboard looks inside mobile today. So I'm going to navigate to boards, and from there I will select my top business stats board and navigate to my business health dashboard. As this dashboard opens, you will see that we've modified the layout of our dashboards to look really, really good in mobile. So I'm going to just take you through. You can see all of our different viz types, how they render really clearly. You can see revenue by zip code, orders by region. And as we get down to this inventory viz, you can see that it's a little bit harder to read because it's an info-dense viz. So what I can do is actually tilt my mobile phone into landscape mode, and that gives the visualization a little bit more room to breathe and makes it easier to read. And you can see as we scroll up through these other visualizations, anything that is info dense really benefits from being in that landscape mode. So now let's say you want to actually look at your dashboard with a filter. So we can go into expand the filters and enter in USA to see this dashboard data filtered by the USA. I enter in USA and select run. And that updates my entire dashboard. Now, let's say you've decided that you really, really like this dashboard and you want to save it to your favorites. You can select the overflow menu on the top right of the app and click add to favorites. Now we're going to go see that the business health dashboard that we just favorited shows up in favorites on the mobile app instantly. And let's say that you've decided you also want to share this dashboard with a colleague. You can select the overflow menu next to the piece of content that opens up a new menu where you can select share. And you can choose to share this dashboard through messaging or email or Slack. And that wraps up the mobile app demo. So speaking of Slack, I am now going to pass the mic back to Annie to talk you through another one of Looker's latest Slack features.
Thanks, Lindsay. So the last thing I want to talk about is our Slack shortcuts, which enable you to have a Looker experience fully from Slack. So in this video here, I'll come back into the same sales analytics channel. Instead of posting a URL, I can go ahead and enter the Slack command /Looker favorites, and it will pull back a list of my favorite dashboards. I can then post a dashboard to the channel, and similar to the URL sharing, it will go ahead and generate that dashboard right in the channel for myself and everyone else to be able to interact with it. That's all we have for today. Lindsay and I ran through a lot during this session, but to sum it up, we know that data is most valuable when it's actionable and in the hands of the users that can take action. Looker can help your team easily access the data they need when they need it with the following features that we reviewed today: scheduling, embedding dashboards, custom-built applications, conditional alerting, the new mobile app, and the Slack integration. We hope these tips and features will help you deliver more value with Looker and your data. Thanks everyone for attending.